Now, in other news, even as world leaders are making desperate efforts to stop the escalation of the Israel-Gaza war, reports say that Israel conducted a targeted overnight raid with tanks in Gaza. In a televised statement, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that Israel is quote-unquote preparing for a ground invasion. He added that the government's special war cabinet will take a decision on when the forces will enter the Palestinian enclave.
אנחנו ממטירים על החמאס אש תופת. כבר חיסלנו אלפי מחבלים, וזאת רק ההתחלה. במקביל אנחנו נערכים לכניסה קרקעית. אני לא אפרט מתי, איך, כמה. אני גם לא אפרט את מכלול השיקולים שאנחנו לוקחים בחשבון, שרובם הגדול כלל לא ידוע לציבור.
The Israeli army statement said that Israeli ground forces attacked multiple Hamas targets with tanks in the northern Gaza Strip before withdrawing. Israel's army radio called it the biggest incursion in the current war. Israeli military also stated that the number of confirmed hostages held by Hamas has reached 224 and could rise further. According to the Palestinian Health Authority, the death toll due to the Israeli strikes in Gaza has now crossed the 7,000 mark. Meanwhile, in Israel, the death toll has been 1,400 for a few days now. In Khan Yunis, an Israeli airstrike hit several buildings as local Palestinians rushed to rescue the survivors.
نعيش حياة حلوة نعيش يا جماعة بس بالله ما مش نعيش حياة صواريخ كلها عرفنا الدور وجن عروسنا الدور وجن عروسنا.
قلتها كلمة لو بدهم يدسوني بالدبابات مش طالع من داري وراح احط خيمة فوق داري واعيش فيها ولو بدها تخش امريكا واسرائيل وكل الغرب راح اضلني في داري. اللي سووه في ابوي وامي مش حسويه في حالي وفي اولادي. حضلني صامت حتى نفوق احجار داري.
A White House statement said that U.S. President Joe Biden discussed the efforts to locate and secure the release of hostages with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Biden said that Israel has the right to respond to the Hamas's attacks, but must do everything it can to protect civilians. The U.S. president also claimed that one of the motivations for the Hamas attack on Israel is the India-Middle East-Europe economic corridor. Now, this corridor aims to pass through UAE, Saudi Arabia, Jordan and Israel before entering Europe. At the United Nations, Russia and China vetoed a US-drafted Security Council resolution calling for pause in the hostilities. It further sought to allow much-needed food, water and medicines to be delivered to the Palestinian civilians in the Gaza Strip. Russia made a rival proposal that advocated a wider ceasefire that failed to win the minimum number of votes. Israel has resisted both prospects, arguing that Hamas will take advantage and create new threats to Gaza civilians. Meanwhile, French President Emmanuel Macron has reaffirmed Israel's right to defend itself. He, however, added that he believes it would be an error for Israel to launch a massive ground intervention in Gaza. He also announced that France will send a Navy ship to bring in aid to hospitals inside the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, Hamas said that it launched a rocket on Wednesday towards the southern Israeli resort city of Eilat. Now, this is some 220 kilometers from the Gaza Strip. Israeli military said that there was an impact in an outlying area. There was no immediate word of casualties in what appeared to be the longest range Palestinian attack on the Gaza war. In South Lebanon, residents are fearful of a second front of conflict. Smoke rose on Lebanese hills near the border with Israel as a result of what appeared to be domestic mortar fire. Israeli tanks and troops were stationed at the border area. Meanwhile, Libya's eastern-based parliament has ordered departure of ambassadors of countries that support the Israeli regime. Its parliament also singled out the United States, the United Kingdom, France and Italy for criticism for their support of the Israeli regime. The country has sent multiple pro-Palestine protests since the conflict began.